There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. It is August 30th, and it is a sunny, beautiful morning up here. How's it going today, Michael?
Going great. We are happy to welcome new folks or some of the original folks that attend our live podcast here. We host it here on Zoom or on YouTube Live. And today we are excited to introduce what this community is all about. It is bantering, it is chatting. If you arrive 15 minutes early, we were just talking about coffee, mugs, what else?
Plants and all sorts of random stuff. But we start our live stream right here at the bottom of the hour. And it's nice to look over at the attendee list and see some new names, some new names that I know that may not have been to MCR before. But welcome. We are back from San Diego. So last week we had the honor and privilege and pleasure and all that stuff to go to San Diego for XCON, which is the Bluebeam Extreme Conference. Met a lot of great folks, met some MCR regulars, had some other folks present some amazing classes, and it was just a good time all around. We were talking about conferences before we started today, and Michael hasn't really been to an AEC conference before. I've been to more than a handful, and I got to say that event went smashing. It seemed to go so smooth. I'm sure there was headaches behind the scenes, but they really made it look good. San Diego didn't hurt either, but it was really great. I was really thrilled to be a part of it and see a lot of you. So good morning, everybody.
Yeah, I think it was great to meet a lot of you all in person that attend the MCR regularly, and some of the folks that in the community I haven't met that are superstars as well. So hopefully next year, if you're able to attend, you'll find us. We'll get you some food or a beverage.
Yeah.
But until then, recap, right? So recap. As we go through and do this, hopefully let's take a note just internally between you and I, Jason, about your mic. If it keeps going, I'll tell you to unplug it and we'll just go from there. But just because like the static again. Yeah. What did we learn? Big takeaways. Some of what's going to be happening and what's going to be released, we can talk about now because it was released at the keynote of day 2 of XCON. The release of Bluebeam Cloud, which is released currently for specific enterprise clients, or I guess they said I think that was the terminology they used. But to people with existing maintenance and active maintenance prior to will be released on the 7th and globally around the world on the 20th. So Revu 21 and Bluebeam Cloud are here. The integration they showed in the ability to make RFIs in Bluebeam Cloud, submittals, punch lists, geo map location per your punch list. So on the map screen of what used to be formerly known as Project Rover, where you can map down and lay down a 2D plan set, you can now place a punch by geolocation of where that punch was made. You can click on that. You can assign a submittal or an RFI to that specific punch list as well. All of this can be exported and the data can be aggregated. We'll let Jason answer that in a second, maybe through the chat, or I can re-answer it after I say that, but can be aggregated through Open API. So Bluebeam Cloud will have Open API. So it'll be intriguing. And that was kind of one of my comments. Somebody posted and then I deleted it because it's like, maybe we'll wait to talk about it here. I would love to see next year at XCON the ways our community drives the data out of Bluebeam Cloud, aggregating that data into whatever software they're using, because the API will be open to Bluebeam Cloud. You will not need a subscription to get access to the API to that. As adverse to Studio Sessions, right? You need Studio Prime to get Open API to plug into that. But your documents will live in projects. You will have to push it into Bluebeam Cloud, which is kind of like what you had to do with drawings. The tab is even called drawings, which is funny. So you push them to cloud, you do what you need to do, and you can push them back, I believe. I don't know about I would assume. And then you have to push your tool sets. So you can still use your custom tool sets in the cloud because you can lightly mark up by the app or URL, and you can also push your custom tool sets up into the cloud as well. What else to add?
Cool. no more unregister, re-register. You just sign in and all your stuff will be there ready for you.
And there's some questions here in the chat. Let's look. Yep, you got it.
Getting there. So can it be used by a tablet? Yes. So Bluebeam Cloud is web-based. So there will be an app for iOS, but otherwise you just go to any browser and you'll have certain tools that you've pushed over that will be there. It doesn't, I mean, it looks better than drawings. It looks better than some of the other options for a web-based viewer, but it'll be pretty good. Yeah, Doug, it doesn't say anything about measurements yet. I think they have to. They're going to have to do that. So.
Yeah, I would agree. Just like the iPad app, you're able to take field measurements. I don't think this is the first iteration of into cloud and a solution in the field outside the iPad app. So the innovation is going to be there. They listened to the community. That was part of their keynote, that it was all driven by us in the AECO space. And I could see that coming out pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh, good question, Patrick. What if there was a custom tool for a measurement in the tool set? Could be. Hopefully we're going to get access this week. Us as ATG will get our early access, so we're able to do what we need to do and start testing this stuff. And as soon as we get access, guess what we're going to do? Start sharing it with y'all. So
yeah, we try to get things out as early as we can to everyone here in the community. But we are still platinum partners and we are obligated to ride the line, I guess you would say.
Yep, exactly. And Alex, if it's X'd out on the tool set, there could be reasons for that. Certain levels will have different tools.
Yep.
How's that for riding the line?
And the X'd out part also is you signing in. So as you're getting ready to sign in, it's saying, is this the original owner of those tool sets? Is this cached within that specific ID, I guess you'd say, because it's your Bluebeam ID. That's kind of the items that you'll have. Custom columns will also not be available at the start.
Yeah. So there's a link in the chat.
And Jason didn't post that. BT dubs, whoever's watching in.
But it can be found. Since Bluebeam Cloud and Revu 21 are out there for certain clients and certain jurisdictions, not jurisdictions, but geolocations. Not a Freudian slip there, but it's out there, so support is needed. So if you were to start digging around on the support website, you might find some stuff. But yeah, I'm not seeing measurements either, but it's got to be something coming. Their competitor, Autodesk Construction Cloud, is incredibly powerful as well, and it can do measurements. So
it can place a count tool. Oh, unsupported markups. So it says count tools, digital stamps, digital signatures, sketch to scale markups.
Oh, yeah. Sketch to scale would be difficult if you couldn't set the scale or if it couldn't read the scale from the PDF. But Doug said that he sat in one class and they said it was coming in round 2.
Yeah. So again, that, baby step, let's get it out to the community and then start driving this thing forward, I think, full throttle.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. And I'm certainly excited about it because that's something that we fight all the time with. I don't have I only have an iPad and I don't like the app, or I only have a Samsung tablet because they're $100. There's so many people who have a field solution that isn't compatible, and this is going to break down that barrier. In fact, I thought it was funny that at the keynote, for the product keynote on the second day, they were up there on the main stage using MacBooks, right? Now they probably have, they did have Parallels installed or some other Windows emulator, but the dev team we're kind of brothers by bearded association though, right?
I saw that too. I thought they were like twins.
Yeah, they had just beautiful beards. But anyway, totally thought they were brothers, but they were both on MacBooks running a Windows emulator. So maybe that's part of their development background. Yeah, I think the compatibility is going to be a huge step. And just to unlock that is a big enough step alone that I can oversee, or not oversee, but foresee the measurements, and then that'll come next, right?
Jill, if you have questions about where they're going in terms of subscription, we would love to answer those questions offline. So if you want to if you're partnered with us, you can give your rep a holler. If not, you can shoot Jason or myself an email. You can ping us on LinkedIn, and we can have a one-on-one with you offline.
Yeah, we still can't talk pricing, but it's better than you think it's going to be. How's that? Towing that line. All right. Interesting in BBC to manage shared tools. That's yes. It's going to be great. David, I'm in if you're in. We'll talk about growing out our beards to see if we'll be worthy for XCON 2023.
So I have this weird thing where I can't grow it past a certain point. I can't pass that awkward round face phase where I can't do it. So I will let you partake. Maybe I'll grow out the mustache. My wife won't be happy, but I'll grow out the mustache.
Maybe if there's enough of us with asking you to do so, she'll give in.
I do fall into peer pressure pretty easily.
Show up with mohawks next year. Maybe, you never know. I was impressed by the crowd, right? Because we had everybody from executives down to the field folks and anybody in between. There was so many. It was very diverse, and I was very happy to see that. I think there was something for everybody. The class list was really incredible, and I know that Doug taught a class. I know Liz. There's so many folks in the Bluebeam community that were out there volunteering their time and showing other folks, and maybe Doug will share your little class that you shared with everybody as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to create a project for it, but I'm not going to speak for him. But it would be great, and I think you and everyone else would benefit if you jumped on here one day. We'll have to link up and show your class.
Yeah.
Kind of a recap.
Yeah, I haven't heard when slide decks will be available. Hopefully folks aren't too excited to see ours, because Michael and I were happy to present two different courses, and one of them I pulled up the PowerPoint and said, by the way, I'm not going to use this. I don't like PowerPoint. And I tried flipping through it, and we just kind of ignored it the whole time. So it's not of much value, but it was fun for us to talk about our class, which was building a community around Bluebeam. And it worked out really well. Don't you think?
And how you encourage your team members to do inward growth and outward growth in how you grow with technology and implement trainings within your firm.
Mm-hmm. We talked about the ever-growing battle of, and not to make this a derogatory term, but like the old timers, right? You've got people who have been in the industry for 20 plus years, or even 5 years. Heck, they learned something once and they don't want to learn anything new. They're stuck in their ways. And how do you deal with that? So it was nice to have a community room there at the conference center to just go around the room and talk about, how do you encounter and how do you interact and how do you deal with these folks? How do you incentivize them? What works as an incentive? Is it money? Is it, what's going to get an old dog to learn a new trick? So it was interesting. And coffee mugs. We gave out quite a few, but they have time to learn. Time wasn't the issue. It was purely an attitude thing, right? And we see that here. I've done hundreds of hours of training for various firms and various things, and you always encounter one or two of them, right? Man, you can't show me anything new, kid. I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, oh yeah, did you know that there was an update 3 days ago that did this? Oh no. So yeah, too busy to sit down. Yeah. Free food. How's it go? Time to lean, time to clean.
That's why I have a standing desk. So any questions about Bluebeam Cloud, where they're going with release of 21, or about XCON? Because we do have some stuff to show you today. So it's not just us talking, which we love to do, but to get you some benefit, hopefully for some folks using Revu. You can go back and check out our YouTube channel. If you're newer to Bluebeam, there are a bunch of videos on our YouTube channel, and we'll have DJ CJ put that link in the chat. and you can check out our channel, and it has blooming into Revu is a recommended starting point to introduction in how Revu works as a whole.
Correct. How does it compare to PlanGrid? And I'm not a PlanGrid pro, but it's PlanGrid is sort of evolving itself too. So that's a tough one.
Pricing's different and better, but it depends on what you're using. So PlanGrid is already integrated into ACC. So if you're using ACC, and this is what we recommend, we're platinum partners for both Autodesk and Bluebeam. So we recommend the best solution for your current workflow, right? Is what we're going to recommend. PlanGrid compatibility markups are nowhere near the capabilities of what you have for Bluebeam Revu, but Bluebeam Revu is not meant to do time estimates and host the intricate data that you're going to have for that. And ACC has that kind of built in. So, like Procore. So those kind of questions of that reside, am I using the full power of ACC or just the PlanGrid portion? Great. Now I'm paying per sheets that I'm using in PlanGrid. So why am I using PlanGrid? I should go to Bluebeam Revu, right? Or am I using the other aspects that ACC offers? So then maybe I should use PlanGrid within ACC. You can still link ACC and BIM Collaborate Pro into Revu if you want to mark up your PDFs that are stationed there. So you're still using one solution. Versus storage solution versus, going back and forth because no one likes to download a document from BIM Collaborate Pro or Autodesk Docs, right, is where it would be stored. Let me get those names correct. Construction Kyle will be yelling at me now. And then storing them in Autodesk Docs, marking them up and still being in there.
Yeah. It is interesting. And we encounter firms that, having both solutions is the solution. Right. So I don't think they're at a point where one can truly replace the other one. But obviously more software, more subscriptions, more whatever is pretty annoying. But, sometimes you need multiple tools. I'm excited for us to get access to everything so we can do a proper Pepsi challenge between the two. But I think I think it'll be good overall. And I agree with you, Alex. The per sheet pricing model is crazy. I have my own conspiracy theory about that folks don't want sheets anymore, right? We're working eventually to a sheetless model driven construction world. I don't think that's going to be tomorrow or the week after, but I think it's the trend is leaning that way. Alex, a question about the turnout compared to previous years. This was the first XCON I went to. Maybe this is something that one of you all can answer who have been to multiple ones, but they said there was over 1,100 people registered. I wasn't counting them. I think it was probably a little less than that in person, but it was pretty good. I was happy with the turnout, especially considering San Diego. And it's not a really cheap place to get to or stay at. And also COVID's still a thing, y'all. So with that, it was well run. And I would say probably 600 to 700, maybe, if I had to guess how many people were there.
And they didn't have you. So for instance, my buddies are going to PAX West this weekend, which is a gaming convention conference, right? And traditionally I'm going, but we're going to Canada instead. But they still have to wear masks, show code vaccinations, where this one didn't.
Right.
To attend. So COVID still is a thing for some conventions, just so you're aware.
And we've got Scott here who says the attendance in person was closer to 700. So thank you, Scott. Scott is the man.
Yes.
He both led us on our journey for becoming a Bluebeam certified instructor. And we're forever thankful for the opportunity to meet him and finally shake hands in person and stuff while we were in XCON. So there was
He's the myth, the man, the legend, leading the stride for the BCI training.
David, I'm very happy to show you my negative test.
Oh, yeah.
I've taken 2 of them because I'm paranoid. As Michael said, we're headed to Canada this week, so
hey, I did too.
We gotta do something. But I got home from my bike ride last night and I sneezed and I'm like, oh no. And I took another test. So
I took one right when we got back. And then I took one yesterday again too. And I felt the same way. I was like, I feel a little off still. So let me just take one just in case.
Yeah, I think it's just I haven't heard of any outbreaks or anything with COVID, but I thought they kept it pretty clean. There was plenty of hand sanitizer stations. There was plenty of masks around if you wanted to wear a mask, but a lot of the gatherings were in big open spaces or outdoors. I'll tell you what, eating breakfast outside was glorious. So it was a very comfortable event, even for someone who's COVID paranoid like I am. So glad to see some no symptoms coming in through the chat. It was really, really a good time. And I am super excited for next year, wherever that may be. So Scott, if you want to confirm one of our rumors, that would be cool. But otherwise, we don't know, but we're making plans already. So if it's the same time frame of year, I think it works well because there was the Built conference, and then there was the Esri conference, and then you got Bluebeam, and then you've got Autodesk. Like those are 4 big conferences that affect our industries. And, that time slot's pretty slick. I think it works well. And so it should be around August again. Thanks, Scott. It worked out perfect. No matter where you go, usually August is a pretty good month. I'm not going to go visit you down in Phoenix this month, Michael, but
it's still 100 degrees.
Yeah.
My banana trees are doing great though. Alex had a question about walking us through a workflow from our desktop version into cloud. What would that look like? So if you want a single source of truth document, you would store it in projects, then you'd push that into the cloud from there. And then you'd run whatever type of RFI submittal punch lists. Submittal would be separate, but punch list or markups in the cloud, and then you push it back.
Absolutely. Well, we can certainly talk about XCON and do our recap all day long, but there's a couple of things that came up through support that I kind of want to challenge Michael with.
Oh, great. Am I on fire here?
And part of this is for the community too, because I'm curious. And I think you're the better one to ask because you've got more stuff going on in your studio sessions list. So client reached out and said, hey, I've got way too many sessions. I've got 60 plus sessions that I'm still a part of, but I can't keep track of what is what. How do I bookmark or filter or name these so I can get to them easier? And then I was like, well, there is a filter button. And they're like, yeah, we're using that. But what else can I do? What other tricks might I have to organize my sessions and create quick access?
So there is no additional item for that except for the filter. And that's the same question I've had before in a file share. So if you have a session that has I think it's either this one or my file share one, that has a ton of PDFs, basically you have that same issue, right? Like this one. Right now, currently, the only option to sort these, there is no folder structure like projects. However, you could bring your projects over into sessions, which would create a little bit more of a better seamless type of file structure because you could remove it, update the server copy, and then delete it from here, right? And then bring it back in when you're ready to use it again versus it having to be stored here if it's just in sessions. Because right now, all you can do is alphabetical, right? And then by date. So that's what you get for your organization, kind of the same thought process, right? When I'm going through and filtering my sessions. So I can go all sessions, my sessions, things that I've created, attended sessions, right? Things that I've joined most recently. XCON, I'm just laughing because I'm remembering us on the top of that Titanic ship, but
we'll have to show that in a minute.
Recent access, name, or ID. So these are the ways you're able to go through and sort and filter them. It would be cool, or it would be a little bit easier for folks, I think, if there was an organization of a file but also kind of getting away from that thought process of File Explorer, because we kind of do that with dashboards, right? When we're in projects versus having that normal file structure and how we're going to go through and save for them. Here's my project number. Okay, so for people that are using projects and want to see some of Doug's stuff that he taught on. But going back into here, yeah, I think that's one of those things where if we all went and did this, it would really help, especially for file shares. This one doesn't have a lot in here, so, but like my demo one, right? To go through what if a full project was this many sheets, right? As we're going through, I had to scroll all the way down to the bottom or midway, right? Looking through, navigating through these would be a lot easier versus what is only offered here.
So it gets tricky to figure out, but I was curious, how folks are working with that. And then I started thinking, well, what if you used a dashboard? Would a dashboard allow you to create a straight link to a specific session?
Yeah, so you can do different sessions with here, right? But then you'd have a lot of sessions, right? You'd have to go into a session here. So when you're in projects, you can go and let me see.
You got way more than I do. I'm kind of okay with that though.
Did I put demo share in the name of it? Yeah, there it is. It's the one with the over because that means it's in sessions, part of it. But in here, as I go through and select this, you'll be able to go through as it loads because my internet's slow because I'm Googling stuff on the side too. But as I go through and look here, I have the option of seeing that things have been loaded into a session. But if it's a PDF and you want to go through and just right click, you can add these into an existing session or a new session. So you could create multiple sessions, but then I feel like you'd have too many sessions. But the great part about this is, right, it's stored here. If no one's marking it up and it's completed, I don't have to have it live in my session anymore. I could update the server copy and push it back to my projects, which is that true storage single solution versus it being in the two different AWS buckets of storage, right? So it could be vice versa. Instead of having it, because these are two split buckets, but you can pull a bucket from here into here. You could run it that way.
Yeah. So I think Alex and Patrick are onto something. So from Alex, there has to be a way to link to a session or PDF from the dashboard because you can click a link from the email that you get sent from Bluebeam. So you have that magical link, and Patrick is talking about the same thing. Use that link in a hyperlink or a button, and it should take you there. So you're saying have that share link.
I get what you're saying. So the way to open up a session from projects, is that what you're saying?
How to open up so if you create, because you can't do a dashboard in a session, right? You want to have a project that has that. If you had a project that had all your sessions in it, you could have a dashboard. So here's my one for my 123 Main Street project. You click on that and it takes you to the session.
So can I jump to an action on a separate PDF in here? So if I had a dashboard on my front screen that had my page layouts of where I wanted to go, can I create an actionable item?
Yeah, like in your file access, right? You know how you can pin a file that takes you a specific place. Can you?
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, hold on.
A file.
Let's see. No, you can't edit actions in here.
Oh, okay. You're just doing a symbol. Okay, gotcha.
So this would be the way you create a hyperlink to jump to somewhere, but you can't add an action in Studio Sessions. So hyperlinks wouldn't work to add that action to hyperlink me to here, right? Because that's what we're saying. So which is a dashboard, right? So in a dashboard, what you'll have is you'll jump to somewhere. So if I go to our dashboard, if you're trying to get to something, you click the button, which is an action. So in a dashboard, right? I want to go home. This icon, this image isn't the action, which is just a markup with an edit action that jumps me to a project. So that was the question, right? If I'm trying to get to something, it needs to go to somewhere, right? If it's going to somewhere, but it won't let you add an action.
Right. And we're going to do a whole MCR episode on dashboards next month. I've got it already on my list on probably September 13th. that will go through this, because Michael has an amazing white paper that walks you through everything, but we'll do it live and have some fun with it, because again, one of those underutilized, amazing things that can bring so much organization and clarity and simplicity and all the good things that you want in your project. So yeah, Matt, it looks like actions are available in projects, but not in sessions.
So let's clarify that, because projects is Revu when you open the PDF, right? It's just stored there. It's a storage bucket. Sessions is the collaboration portion and limiting features, which is a different AWS storage bucket. But I get where he's going. Well, what if you did a PDF that was here and you brought that PDF that had the actions into here? Would it still work? I don't know, but it wouldn't. The point would be to jump to these PDFs in here. So would it still jump to that?
So Scott is saying you can add the dashboard with all the links after you created it to a session. The links will work in the sessions, but they can't be created in a session. So as with most, the rule of thumb that I throw out there for working on a PDF in a session, if it's going to have something that, and you'll notice that certain things are grayed out, like you can't add sheets, you can't create custom columns. You have to do certain things to the document prior to uploading it. Because if we take a bigger picture of what sessions is for, it's for collaboration and review. And if somebody reviews it and then gets out, and then I go in and I add a bunch of pages, that's not really an accurate thing anymore, right? So those are things that we might want to do ahead of time. Again, we'll talk about this more when we do our actual stuff.
Yeah, and the actions are working. Now, what if I were to add, no, because it's opening up to a file. So the actions work per page, but they're not going to open up to a file location. So we still wouldn't be able to jump to a PDF here, right?
Right.
But we can still jump around the current page, right? Which is what I'm doing.
Well, I don't think, for the purpose of the question, I don't think they wanted a specific page within the session. They just wanted to know what session it was, right? So if how do I get to the session for the 123 Main Street project without going through my whole list?
Oh, I'm thinking of organization in terms of, I want to access these PDFs here from one interactive dashboard. That's my thought process, is what I heard of the question, and maybe I was wrong.
But I think we figured it out.
Yeah,
that it really can't be done. And the best practice for that is to name your stuff properly. You know, if you have a consistent naming scheme, then you can use your alphabetical sort. You can use your thing. But what I recommended to the client in this case was just use that filter for recently accessed. You know, if it's something you haven't been in 6 months, chances are you don't need to get to it in 6 minutes. You know, keep your list filtered properly and named properly, and it will make your life easier. Still, naming conventions are one of the industry's most evil things, and there is no standard for that.
Yeah, you can even see the breakup of the link.
But yeah, don't give too much away, because we're going to come back to dashboards here on the 13th probably. And speaking of which, side note, I'm going to be working this week probably to get our topics figured out for September and October. So if you've got any ideas of things you want us to cover, as always, our topics are very, very loose, as you've seen today. If you got any ideas for a topic, or if you want to say, hey, I got this workflow I want to show off, by all means, let me know. Reach out and I'll get you on the list, or we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, I'm just coming up with topics as I go. And sometimes it could be something we covered last month. Every time we do a topic, it's never exactly word for word, because communities you all will say something different. Matt wants to see 3D PDFs. You got it, buddy. And then, of course, next month with the launch of Revu 21, you best believe that we're going to be covering that all over. So,
yep, we'll have it live here, hopefully, and add that into here as well. Patrick tested. So yeah, sounds like Patrick was trying to test the link of the ability to go through and right click and share a link, and if that would do it. But the only thing with the share link is that it's static. It's not updating, right? So you can go through and share the link file too. I still think a creative way would be to store your PDFs in projects versus having everything directly uploaded to sessions. That way you can remove ones you're not using in the set as a collective team. And then if they need them back, you can add them back in. So just be aware.
Yep. Yes, David, Revu 21 still has measurement capabilities. Don't you worry.
So we were saying cloud. So there's two different things. There's Revu 21, the desktop app, and then Bluebeam Cloud. So Revu 21 is going to be single sign-on, but it's still the same desktop installed Revu 21, not Revu 20 though.
Yep. It's got some bug fixes. It's got a couple little things. Didn't notice any new functionality other than that cloud connectivity, but it's the same Revu that you know and love. Hopefully know and love.
Yep.
Because you're here to listen to us talk about all things Bluebeam, but Revu is a thing. And also I say it every week, there's still a lot of folks out there on 18, 17, 19. Your days are numbered, everybody. So you're on the end of life. You got to get out of there. If you need help, if you need justification for moving to the newer versions, whether you're just going to 20 or you hold out for 21 in a couple of weeks, make sure you get updated, because you're going to have a really rough time come March. And September's just later this week, right? This year's flying by. March are going to be here, and then IT folks are going to be scrambling and panicking. And let's not add any more stress to their lives.
No more stress.
So if you're on an older version, go tell somebody, go tell your IT folks, say, hey, by the way, did you know about this? If you need the link, I'll put it in the chat here in a minute. Do we provide end of life therapy? Yes. Well, maybe we'll have a eulogy next March. I'll put that down on the topic, Matt. You're going to come on that one too.
And if you're looking for an explanation of what Matt is saying, I don't think we have it on our YouTube channel. So let me just look at mine, because it's on mine.
Yep. And I put in the Zoom chat, I put a link to the support page from Bluebeam that's talking about the end of life. So goes about all that stuff that Michael's going to show you.
Exactly. There's a list of it, and I just cover that list because some people like being talked to, maybe, or talk to, not at, because that's
talked through.
Talked at, yeah. And I'll put that in the list here.
Yeah. So there's plenty of resources out there, but again, we've been talking about this stuff for, it seems like 6 or 8 months now. And it's still a new thing. So make sure we get the word out to let people know, because we don't want, projects that are starting this week might not be done by March. And if you've got something up on Studio and you're in Revu 19, come March, when you can't get access, that's going to just be bad. So we'll get everybody up on Revu 20. You should be stable in that for at least almost two full years yet. So you'll be fine. So take a look at those resources in the Zoom chat, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So we still have time. What other questions did you have that were support related?
That was the big one, was, how can I make my life a little easier? Another one, and I won't remember this off the top of my head, so I'll have to look it up, but it had to involve labels with a
oh, your mic went real cut out. Labels really? With something, yeah,
with a custom comment.
Don't worry, we're gonna get Jason's mics figured out by the time we come back from Canada. We just need an amp mix, and we'll get that sorted out today. But to going through and talking about, he said something about labels, away for him to come back. Let's talk about the Showdown, because I really want to show something off that really surprised us. And then also some questions on how to create custom line types were a big thing. Here's mine, by the way. I think I won. We went through and did a showdown, and people got prizes. In this XCON version, Showdown of Studio Sessions, what we like to do with these showdowns is to show creativeness outside of the normal design tools we use, and the ability to learn maybe something new that's out of our workflow, right? But what I really liked was it this one? Sorry, these are larger file sizes.
There was a lot of good ones. And
this,
yeah.
Okay, sorry, you go. Your mic's good now.
All right, cool. So if you haven't seen one of our showdowns before, we did one for Thanksgiving last year, and we did one for Christmas. Walk you through creating a custom line type, walk you through creating a custom hatch pattern, and then applying it to something. So we like to have fun here if you haven't figured that out. So we used our one of our sessions at XCON to have a live showdown. And your top 3 are on this page. Sorry, Isaac. Yours is good. Yours was good, but you weren't in the top 3. But now that I see the shark, it's pretty darn good. You got a prize out of the deal anyway, so whatever. Yeah.
Everyone's never mind. I'm not gonna bring this prize, but thank you all for joining this. If you were, we will have these showdowns as always moving forward with some cool prizes. We still have some mugs, so maybe we'll do a post XCON showdown. Jason Arley came up with the idea of the boat because we were out by the harbor, and this is my favorite. Sorry, this is Kyle. He is from DPR, and he's actually, I didn't realize it till we did the capture. He's from Arizona as well. So Kyle, if you're tuning in, if not, thank you for drawing my favorite, most lovely Titanic boat. So as we start scrolling in, we'll start seeing something at the top here.
Prepare yourself, everybody.
And we just need to cue the music right now for Titanic. And just listen.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it in my head.
I thankfully don't have it in my head. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was terrible.
But straight up went and looked at our XCON session, grabbed our headshots, and did this all in
there we go. Scott knows it.
Yeah. It was I was cracking up. So again, this was a lot of fun for us. And I mean, the creativity here to go out and, make a line type that says Pirates of the Caribbean, to create a hatch pattern that has something silly. The creativity of these folks that joined us in our session really kind of blew me away. And I think, Isaac, you were one of them that actually brought in a picture of a sailboat and then traced it. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. So
that was actually some pretty cool thought processes that we haven't seen before. Like when we did the gingerbread showdown, cook gingerbread house. Sorry, you know me in words. Yeah. That would have been great, bringing one of those in. So I think hopefully Bluebeam will let us host another showdown every year at XCON. Maybe that'd be cool. Hint, hint. So that we can, keep this momentum of creativity outside of our normal workflows and maybe pick something up that we wouldn't have thought of that would be beneficial to us in the long run. And like I always say, whenever I announce these, when we do them, I love prizes. Jason knows this, and that's why I always encourage us to give out prizes. So maybe in our next showdown, we'll give out some prizes with some mugs or something like that, a little bit quicker before we don't have any more of those. But yeah, these are our top ones. Anything else to add, Jason?
I mean, the creativity really blew me away. Yes, we're doing something silly. Like I said, it's not totally work related, but it was exciting to me to see people push the boundaries of not just what you can do inside of a session, but like to get outside of your box. Nobody who entered that room knew exactly what we were going to do. Right. And then we walked through how to create that line type, how to create that hatch pattern, and then set them free. And they went on and sailed and did amazing things. So I didn't notice the DJ actually had the company logo on their sail. Like, seriously, a really, really impressive work. And that was fun for us. We're going to have to go
This is Jason's, by the way, just so you all know. That's a boat. I think it's a raft.
Yeah. You can't tell? I was wanting to show off how to attach that hatch pattern to the session. I was more focused on that part. Okay.
This is Beth. She had an iPad snafu, but I think this is great.
Yeah. It's, and it's what is one of those 3D pictures. You never know. This was pretty good, but totally missed the sailboat part. So yeah. Ooh, Chris with the Bob Ross quote here. I'm teaching you techniques and setting you loose on the world. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, I made way too many pages, but yeah, I would love to do this on a bigger scale and maybe give people more heads up. This was kind of a last minute thing that we put together, but maybe something bigger. If we're not in San Diego, it'll be something totally different. But yeah, you've been warned. This is kind of how MCR rolls. Do something fun. I'll put the rules and make it a little bigger for next XCON. Or we'll probably hold our own, especially around Halloween time. Hint, hint.
Halloween's coming up, and we love prizes around the holiday.
Yeah. We will
be able to join, Scott.
Ooh, yeah. Bluebeam employees are eligible too. So bring your A game, everybody. This is you're gonna have to go against the master here. Is it a bat installation line type? Yes, that's built into the software.
Wait a minute, Isaac said. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was talking to Jason about, some things. What did we take from XCON in things that we learned? Some folks were wondering how to create custom line styles, right? And that was a big thing with this, was create a custom hatch so we can teach folks how to do a hatch. Jason gave a quick overview, and also line. We've talked about this in previous MCRs, but you do have the option of going through and selecting your line that you've already created. And from the drop down of the properties, you can go to manage. But as we note here, we can see all the existing ones. The one thing that's different from going from your, I call it dynamic options bar, just from the options bar itself, because it's dynamic for whatever command you're in. But you can go through and you can go to your properties over here, and they're actually organized versus you going through, right? So you can go through and see the namings of the groupings that it gives, but they don't give you that ability to have them over here. And Jason and I have talked about, well, you could create a line that's meant just to say space or whatever, right? For here, because they don't organize them in the same fashion that they do from your properties. But either way, neither here nor there, you can go to manage, same thing over here, and you can create your custom line style sets here. Now, these are the sets of the grouping. So you can go and create your own set. You can hit add, or you can edit an existing set. And in that existing set are your line styles, right? So those are going to be the styles that you create, the name of them associated to each style that you want to use. This is the grouping. This is the individual name. So as then you hit add, you name it. So I'm going to go through and say MCR 2.0. From here is where you get to go through and create them. So this allows you to go through, and existing lines already here, but you can modify that existing line to be something different, like a space or a text. And then you can add another one below it if you wanted to, or you can go text, right? We can edit that with text, space, and then more text if we wanted, or a dot. I guess I could have done dot. But you have the option to go through and customize these the way you want them to look, and then use them for later use, which is what people did with the XCON and the other notation. The one I was showing earlier was someone was saying, I don't want to go into my design software. And this is I quickly did it for them, but they want to create flex duck, right? A mechanical firm wanted to create flex duck in their project in Revu. Is there a way to do that? And we thought about a line style that looked like flex duck from what you would see maybe from Revit. Now you can just draw the line that looks like flex duck. And this still ties to, by the way, this flex duck, because they were like, well, what if we want to know the segmented lengths? That still works for if we go through and use our measurement features, by the way. So with my polyline, or polylength, sorry, those individual line segments can still have that same style.
No, I'm not the mechanical guy at all, but that didn't look like a duck to me. Like a quack quack duck, or oh, okay, I'm out.
Like a flex duck.
Like a duck with big muscles on the beach, just like
yes, they flex out. They don't have yellow bills though.
Right before they attack. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like a beaver, but a duck. Flex duck.
Sweet, yeah. Isaac said that he learned something. He learned something in our class that you're going to remember forever and ever. So that's special. Thanks for sharing.
The next one was hatch. And the next one was hatch patterns. So I'm going to use a rectangle for this. And to go through and customize my hatch patterns for them, I can go to my hatch here and do the same thing, manage. You still have the same option right here. So you can go through and look. And again, they're broken out in a lovely manner. And the nice little example here, I just did the typical Autodesk hatch patterns into Revu, so I don't have to go into AD to put something. AD That's AutoCAD, right. I guess I should say. Yeah, because AutoCAD. But you can go to here, manage. These are just creating your new sets. So same thing, you have your grouping. And then from in your grouping, you're going to create your new title of those, right? So I can go say...
These are landscape hatches. These are insulation hatches. These are pavement hatches. Create a set for the different types you're going to have.
Yep. And you can import AutoCAD pattern.
Dum, dum, dum.
And I'm pretty sure I just grabbed the folder, to be honest. I don't think I needed to do individual ones, if I remember correctly.
I couldn't even tell you where the... How'd you get to that? Oh, because you got your own folder.
These are my desktop. I can send it to you. Yeah. All you have to do is just click on the folder. Look at that.
There you go. It brings them all in. Did you get the Escher one? Because that's been my favorite hatch pattern from AutoCAD. There it is. You passed it.
Where?
Starts with an E. Starts with an E. Boom. The MC Escher one. Yeah, I've been dealing with that silly thing for a long time now.
I agree.
Oh, Alex. Yeah. Keep going with your hatch here, and then we'll go back and talk about Alex's comment. So you're going to add a new hatch pattern?
Terry's question, Revit. So actually a Revit hatch pattern or fill pattern is still I guess it's not still. Let me rephrase that. But if you want to use a plugin called PyRevit, you can export the fill pattern as a PAT file. And that PAT file can be added into here. So knowledge drop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Revit.
Because you can do the adverse. I need a fill pattern that's a hatch pattern, which is a .pat file extension. You could go the adverse, right?
You guys started speaking a different language there.
So Revit PAT files have a different header.
Oh, to distinguish between model
so you're
and
saying,
2D.
Yeah, I guess you're saying a model pattern, but a model pattern, right, versus drafting, and correct me if I'm wrong, I hope Matt's still here. Yeah, drafting versus model fill patterns, right? So 2D would be your drafting. That would be the one you'd probably want to export. Your model one is at scale, whatever the model factor is for like a wall, right? Like a CMU hatch pattern for a wall. If I'm not visually seeing it in a 2D representation, I'm going to use a draft. The other one would be a model. So probably only want to export out your PAT files from PyRevit for your drafting versus your model.
There you go. Magical, magical. All right, continue on and make a...
Jeff's here, so yeah, he's on our team as well. Sorry, continue onward.
Get out of your Revit world. We're talking about cooler stuff.
So going into here, as well as looking at our ability to add them. So you can go through, you can change the capture point of what they're going to be at in the size. So again, you can go through, you can snap to content, you can move these around and add them in. Saving them relative path versus non-relative path, right? This is kind of the die hard for our AutoCAD folks. You have the options of going through and deciding for an XREF, right? Are we going to go through and decide if it's going to follow the folder name or the file name? Same thing in Revit, same thing in here. This even follows suit to your custom tool sets, all that good stuff. Relative path or non-relative path, your stamps, deciding majority of the time you're going to want to have it checked. So I'll go here. Once you're added in, again, I just hit exit because I didn't want to bring it in that way. You could reorganize them, I guess, from your quick drop down by using your up and down arrow. But again, from here, they don't give you the abbreviation breakout like they do here compared to over here. So if I go to my hatches over here again, they have that breakout of what the grouping is called. Correct. More forgiving.
Go with relative. There you go.
When in doubt, relative out.
Yeah, I don't. You might want to work on that.
Okay. I guess I won't. I thought it was pretty good. But okay.
It's early
what else? I think that was it. Yeah, hatch patterns. Oh, I guess the snipping tool, right? So you can go through and snag things in Control C, Control V. So let me grab this over here. Maybe I want our faces again. I don't know why. Oh, I have Snag It though. I think Snag It still works.
Whoa, what's up with that ATG font? That's not kosher. That's not our weird.
DJ CJ. Okay, so going back. So if I copy this, I don't think Snag It works. I only think snipping works. Oh, nope, still does. Okay. So just Control C, Control V of a copy, you can paste them into here. So that's probably a quick tip for some folks that maybe thought they had to go to image. Because this is copied from Snag It or your snipping tool, which every single download of Windows has, right? You can snip something. And then
keep saying it's moving. It hasn't moved in years. I think they're lying to us.
You can copy and paste it.
Windows Shift plus S from Isaac.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I'm assuming this is how Mr. Kyle got our photos somewhere. And look at the not so many plants.
Ooh.
That's when I had my alocasia. So this alocasia, all right, we'll talk about this next morning. But yeah, I'm sad face about that alocasia.
Okay.
It's in my backyard now.
Yeah, we'll have to do a whole plant MCR someday. That'll be a showdown topic. Have draw Michael's office and all his plants. But yeah, good times. Well, we're almost done for today. As I mentioned, I'm going to start working on our topics list for September and October. Already got actually got 5 good ideas coming up. So I'll keep working on those. As always, if you are in the ATG mailing list, you'll get those every Monday morning to let you know what the topic is going to be. And if you follow our LinkedIn group, Michael, if you could pull us up real quick. On LinkedIn, we started a morning coffee review LinkedIn group. You don't have to wait for Tuesday mornings. Ask any questions. We're trying to build a community over there as well. There are other resources like Chapter 2, who's got some great forums. And there's also a Facebook Bluebeam user group. But we spend a lot of time in LinkedIn, so we're just trying to keep it all in one spot. There you got a picture of Doug's International Space Station Lego model with his fancy ATG morning coffee review cup. But yeah, if you're on LinkedIn, check out the group and we'll see you there.
Yep.
Oh, Matt, yeah, you like our mug? Wonder if you'll get one.
So Matt's actually been on the MCR. He is a BCSR, Bluebeam Certified Support Representative, hopefully on the way to becoming a BCI and joining, being taught by one of the legends, Scott, as well.
Yeah, I will put a link here in the chat once I find it. And if I can avoid squirrels on LinkedIn. And sometimes I'm not good with, there we go. There's our group. Boom, copy, go to the linky. Here we go.
It's true, Scott.
Not being too kind, just giving credit where credit is due.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that we talked about in our class at XCON, is that we're not being humble enough to admit when we have questions, and we're not humble enough to admit that when we learn something. So we absolutely need to show gratitude and humility, because life isn't easy, folks. And there's a lot of great people out there that are doing a lot of great things. So Scott, you're in our list of people we're forever grateful for. So truly keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Yep.
And keep spreading the love.
So we're at our time. And at the end, again, you'll have a survey. Please use it. Let us know how we're doing. Again, just like Jason was saying, humility. Let us know if we're doing poorly, how we can be better if you do rate us poorly, because we can't be better unless we know what we're doing wrong. And also what you'd like to see in the next few features of the MCR. I know we have a couple, and we'll reach out to you, Doug, here soon to get something wrapped up with you from what you showed at XCON. Again, thank you all. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Next week, we may or may not be here, so check in the LinkedIn. We don't know if we're going to have technical difficulties being out in Canada with our ability to have our single sign-on licenses. So we may just send a video. We don't know. So please stay tuned in our LinkedIn group for what may or may not happen for next week. We don't know yet. We're going to figure that out in the background, and then we'll let you all know.
Yep. But until then, have a safe week, everybody. Take care out there, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.